What's something that looked fun, but you realized it was horrible once you tried it? When I was a kid I kept seeing these kids with casts because they broke their arm or their wrist or their ankle. And I was so bummed because I'd never broken a bone. Then 3rd grade came and I broke my wrist in 3 places and my thumb in 2, and turns out it ducking sucks wrapping your arm up like a loaf of bread to take a shower. Captive workoutings. Example, we have organized an afternoon boat tour. It means you will be crammed into smaller space, blasted with itty music and expected to be friendly to people you are only around because you are paid to be. For 4-5 hours, you'll accomplish nothing of value, and your bosses think this is a reward. Playing D&D with strangers. Live action roleplay. It looks like fun adult dress up fighting, but it ended up being a bunch of sweaty guys in badly made tunics hitting me with padded sticks. Those foot vibrating machines at amusement parks, zoos, etc. that are supposed to make you feel better after walking around all day. Saw some kids sitting on the metal plate instead, laughing. Asked my dad for some quarters. Tried to do the same thing. The force of the vibration caused me to shut immediately. Shaving my legs. When I was too young to shave, I wanted to so badly. Now I avoid it for as long as possible. Bungee jumping. Free fall is always awesome, but the second and a half of free fall is not worth the cracking of the whip that's hard on your body if you do it wrong. Being a flight attendant. Jumping on a trampoline as a 235-pound adult. Anime conventions. I actually had a good time at the comic conventions I've gone to, but for some reason the anime ones have been smelly, overpriced, creepy, and downright disturbing in some aspects. I have never had my ass groped so many times in one day. I'm a guy BTW. Man. Did my dad upsell mowing the lawn when I was a kid? He made it a thing my brothers and I aspired to do. We knew when we were old enough and responsible enough to mow the lawn we would officially be big kids. Turns out it's way more fun to sit on the sidelines with a popsicle. Being an adult. Snowboarding is not as easy as it looks, and you can break your ribs and ass bone in the process of learning. Bubble soccer. The first time I got laid out I was not amused. Then I accidentally punched myself in the nose after getting hit another time. Fruit stripe gum. This is more of a childhood example, but damn if it doesn't fit this description. Paragliding. My boyfriend and I were on this magnificent trip and decided to have no FOMO and go paragliding in the German Alps. My god, the views were spectacular, but my god did I have to do everything in my power not to barf all over the views. I didn't realize that the motion sickness I get in twisty car rides would transfer during this activity, only 100x more intense. The guide I was attached to swiftly handed me a bath bag but thanked me profusely for not using it when we landed because apparently it was full of holes. Shower 6. Water makes a poor lubricant. Riding a mechanical bull at my 33rd birthday party. Felt that for 3 days after. Sex on a beach. Sounds fun and romantic, but even if you have a towel, you still end up with sand everywhere, which is not fun at all. Drink nights at museums. Am I the only one who wants to dress up nice, sip classy drinks, and look at stolen relics and dead animals like some kind of hoity-toity toff? It was just a club night in the museum, complete with bad music, club horns, trashy people, and woo girls. Where's my high society? Being able to last forever in bed. It's only fun for a little bit, but girls don't really like it when you go for 1.5 to 2 hours and don't come. Wanted to go play with those tiger babies and wolf pups at the zoo type places till I watched a documentary about how those animals are sold to practice hunting farms when they grow old and aren't cute to play with anymore. These are the places where the tigers and lions are shot within a cage so people can get their trophies easier. These animals have been around humans all their lives and then some person comes in and blasts them away. So depressing. Edit. To those who think this isn't real, there's a doc called Bloodlands as well. Don't remember if it's the one I saw though. Fast food. Every time. Yeah, their photography is great, but what you get looks nothing like that. I feel like I've eaten sadness. Cheating in a relationship. Yeah, at first it seems like a good idea, having more than one person who you can do things with. But then you think about the person you're with, how much it would hurt them. Plus it calls into question your own ethics and honor code. And at least for me, it's horrible. I have a friend who still constantly cheats on his wife, and will probably never change. And I feel both pity and disgust towards him. If you're in a terrible relationship, leave. If you're happy, don't cheat. It's pretty simple. Some of it is maturity, but a lot of times, at least for me, it was because of insecurity, and not truly understanding what a relationship is all about. If you truly love someone, you won't cheat, because you would never want to do something that would hurt them. Homemade zip slides. I went on one at a scout camp. Almost broke my pelvis. Graduating high school. The thought of being independent and free from all the baggage that was school doesn't seem so great when you realize you have to jump into the adult world blind and confused as to what the duck even is your life. Riding in a hot air balloon. I dreamed about it for years. Got it as a birthday present, and threw up over the side the whole time. They had to stop the ride early. Vacuuming. They give you those vacuum toys as a kid, and you just think it's the coolest thing. Then you grow up and it sucks. I mean, it's not torture, but definitely not as fun as the toys made it seem. Where are my balls that pop around in the vacuum while I move it around the floor? Just because I'm an adult doesn't mean I still don't have a short attention span. Oh look, shiny stuff. After being fat 90% of my life, I actually mustered the willpower to get in shape, and now I realize all of my problems are because of me, not because I was fat. This really tall, intense water slide. I won't go into detail, but it was not pleasant. I've got one. Marvin's Magic Drawing Board. My sister you were in Scout and I saw the infomercials when we were young. It looked amazing. I think it was like 3 easy payments of $9.99. The thing was basically a rainbow background with a gap, and then a clear film. So when you press the film, color shows through. But it never worked anything like the infomercial. We literally used it that day only. Sucked. Diving. Joined the team in high school as it looked fun. It was not. Most painful sport I've ever participated in. Shower 6. I mean, sure, I'm naked. You're naked. Let's be naked together. I'm down with that. But do we really need to do it in a little glass box where there's soap on the floor and not really enough room for both of us? Do we really need to pretend that we're not both just trying to stay under the hot water for long enough to stay warm, but that the pressure isn't enough for both of us to manage it at once? Can we at least acknowledge that water is a terrible lubricant, so any actual sex, even if it was possible without us both clumsily pawing at each other, is going to be unpleasant for us both? And even if it did work, we've still got to shower off after the fact. Which means, what, exactly? We've got to take shifts so we can both get clean properly? One of us just has to stand outside, freezing their ass off, while the other one spends 10 minutes washing their hair? I'm 30. I have a perfectly good bed. Let's do this right. Devil's threesomes. 6 with 2 men might seem like a great idea until you have 2 dudes with poor rhythm pounding your orifices at the same time. Unless these dudes have a fair bit of experiences double teaming a woman together, it's a itch to sync up enough to not be very distracted uncomfortable. Orange Theory Fitness. Everyone raved about it and loved going. I now know what hell is like and I paid $15 to be there. Fortnite. I played for a half hour and just couldn't see why people would get WoW levels of addicted. Commenting in an AskReddit thread more than 3 hours after it's been posted. Getting my foot run over by a car. For some reason thought it wouldn't hurt and it would be fun, so when my friend's mum drove the car into my driveway I stuck my foot right under the tire, and as it went over my foot it crushed my foot and I screamed out and made her feel incredibly guilty for my blatant stupidity. Exploring caves. It sounded amazing. Then I spent 8 hours knee deep in battit and crawling, or more accurately jamming my body through tiny passages face down, in the dark, with all types of vermin crawling on me in a 98F hole in the ground. Then they were nice enough to tell me the most common cause of death is something called a dead hang. It's when you fall in a hole and get tangled in your climbing ropes and they can't find you or get you out. You just hang there all mangled up until you die. And that waterfall you can hear but can't see? I bet it's beautiful, but it's probably one of those places you could fall into pretty easily. Then when you're hours away from where you entered this hellhole and you've been in complete darkness for long enough, you get this feeling of dread they call the rapture. You'll give anything to get duck out of there and see the sun again, but it's not possible. It will a very long time before you get out. It was an experience I'm glad I had, but I'd never do it again. Guy here. It took having anal sex with a woman to make me realize that I really wasn't into it. Kinda turned me on in certain porn movies, but in real life it just freaked me out. Getting a facial. They make it look so fun and relaxing, but it actually hurts so bad. While you can still build Legos and watch cartoons, you are no longer welcome in the ball pit or fit on the slide at Shots and Ladders. Ziplining. The kind where you take multiple smaller zip line through treetops. Did it in Thailand. Worst experience of my life. Hosting a New Year's party at my house with my extended family. It seemed fun and great at first, but after 3 hours into it, I was not enjoying it and had party remorse. I kept on telling myself, WTF did I get into? Why did I invite all these annoying people? Oh, that's the reason why I don't talk to my cousin that much. Worst part of it all, my family didn't leave until 2 days later. Somehow my party turned into this 2-day bed and breakfast stay. Never again. Hell no. Going to large, multiple day music festivals. Unless you pay for the premium experience, you're going in with the riffraff known as general admission. Long and hot days, dehydration, lines for the porta potties, endless amounts of various drugs being used in abundance, not showering for a few days. Everything is expensive, and an infinite amount of people. Just a few things off the top of my dome. It's certainly for some people, but I've gone to a few festivals to see some of my favorite acts and support, thinking each experience would get better. Nope. I've only come to find I'm not really about music festivals. I'm not against people using drugs. It's your body. Put whatevs you want in it. However, some people don't know their limits and suddenly you go from having a good trip to taking a trip to the medical tent on the back of a golf cart. Going to a casino. I always thought it would be super cool, but all the bright lights and it just made me feel kinda sick. Hitting people with an electronic fly swatter that I removed some of the fencing from. I thought it would be a hilarious joke. Turns out you will leave a grid scar and can smell the flesh hair burning. I felt like a giant asshole. Sugar. I'm a huge fan of mind expanding substances, but Coke was a waste every time. About half a dozen. I tried it. Never mind being ridiculously expensive. If I ever again get the urge to feel like garbage all day and have my nose not work right for a week, at least I know how to get there. Riding a motorcycle. It was fun until you hit the highway and realize you are 1 second, one crappy driver away from dying. Most people never ride again once they fall off the first time. Jumping into a pile of gold. The Lilo and Stitch ride at Disney World. Doki Doki Literature Club. I meant that in a good way. Shower 6. Don't believe what you see on TV movies. You have no traction, nothing to grab for balance. Water isn't a lubricant, and one person is always cold while the water is warm, which isn't long. And if you like oral foreplay, you'd better have gills to survive the experience. Since shower 6 has come up a few times, I'm going to say 69. It seems like it should be about the greatest thing ever, but it never is. All those amusement park rides that just slowly raise you up a tower, then suddenly drop you. There's a fine line between thrill ride and ass-clenching terror. I remember when I was little and my older brother and sister had braces. I wanted them so badly. Turns out braces really suck, and I had them for almost 4 years. Going to a strip club. I felt like trash and sorry for the girls. Clubbing. Seems fun to dance and drink with friends, but the lights and tobacco smoke give me a headache. Also, it's so crowded, and drinks are expensive. 10/10 would rather stay in or go to a bar. Deep tissue massages. I always go thinking how good it's going to feel, but duck, it hurts like hell. Feel great after though. Fortnite. But not because it's horrible. I'm just wicked bad at it. Working by yourself. Sure, it seems fun to have no one breathing down your neck, but you'll be so miserable by yourself with no good bad company. Painting that damn fence. Thanks a lot, Tom. Casual sex. Was not fun for either party, nor an uninvolved third party accidentally caught in the crossfire. Threesome. Had to watch the person I love with someone else. Had to see them get so much more excited about it than they get for me. It seems like it should be fun to have another person to share in the activities, but really it just hurt. Playing fetch with a dog. Who knew it would be so slimy? Dancing. Edit. My legs don't seem to be connected to my brain when there's people around. Sliding down the stairs with a mattress. Literally happened just yesterday. I'm on vacation with my in-laws and there are those bicycles that multiple people can ride. Everyone we saw riding them was smiling with rosy cheeks. After 20 minutes of riding one, we realized their smiles were an act of self-preservation to survive the torture that are those bicycles. Ice skating. God, those shoes hurt so ducking bad. Exercising. No hot chicks in tights. Just me in my almost 40-year-old body with miserable adults and every place cracking and popping. For me, it was deciding to duck at a lake. It seemed like so much fun, but once we got down to it, it was awkward, long and not satisfying in any way. I don't know if we did it wrong, but we tried 2 different times and they both sucked. Living on my own and having to cook. Pro wrestling. It hurts. Public sex in a construction site. Was walking home from a bar with my so and decided to be kinky and pop through a hole in a construction site fence and have some fun. Ended up with stitches in my hand and a tetanus shot. Wooden roller coasters. Whiplash and an ass beating. Tequila shots at a party as a teenager. Masturbating with toothpaste. I was young, horny and desperate for lube. Blinded by desperation, I grabbed the closest thing that, for some reason, made sense to me as a genius solution. 10 seconds and I realized the enormity of my mistake and spent the next hour trying to get all of it off, the next 3 hours writhing in pain, the next 2 months too traumatized to jerk it. Toothpaste lube, not even once. Riding on the zipper amusement ride at the fair. Excessive alcohol? Maybe it's just from bad experiences stories. But I don't think liquids burning your throat and throwing up everywhere and feeling terrible afterwards is fun. Water skiing. They should call it power snorkeling. Drinking an entire bottle of wine by myself. I was 19 and should have known better, but people on TV do it and seem fine. I had a fun hour or so before passing out, and then I woke up at 3 AM and threw up for 5 hours straight. Undigested ramen noodles came out my nose. I called my dad and asked him if I was dying. Spent 3 days too hungover to function. 0/10 would not do again. Traveling for work. Sounds exotic, but I get to see factories, hotels and airports and not a lot else.